Hi, everyone. Welcome to Soulprint Intuitive Tarot. Thank you very, very much for being here. There's been a lot of concern about the midterms and whether they're going to be safe or not safe. I understand that Texas is trying to create 5 new districts, I think it is, so that they can increase the number of representatives in the House so that it makes it that much harder for the Dems to gain control. And unless I read it wrong, it sounds like the Supreme Court has given approval for that. And so, unless I'm wrong, it's going ahead. So the question becomes, what are the Dems going to do? Like, there's lots of, you know, areas I'm sure that they could find to increase um, their writings too, right? Or their districts. So, but what I want to do is I want to take a look at just oops, thing at just moving forward. There we go. Because this is the thing. If the Republicans are ready to do that, and Abbott, of course, is just whatever Trump wants. Um, what else are they willing or prepared to do? And is are the midterms safe at this point? Is there going to be a significant response from the Democrats to balance out what they're doing? So I think that's what we're going to look at. So we're going to look forward and see what we can see with regards to how the United States looks down the road. So here we go. 25, 26, 27, and 8. 25, 26, 27, and 8. 25, 26, 27, and 8. Okay, I'm going to show you the first 4 cards because they're kind of exciting. 7 of Cups, delusions, smoke and mirrors, distraction, the Star. This is what they're thinking, believing, wishing they can accomplish. Ha ha ha. Here come the 2 of Swords, not so fast. And here comes the 4 of Cups saying, oh, you're likely to be somewhat disappointed. So that's a really helpful and positive way to start. So what's happening? Oh, okay. So what we've got here is the following cards are the Knight of Wands, the 5 of Wands, and the 9 of Wands. So this is about communication. It's about communication that is not going well. It's about communication that is not being received well. It's creating a lot of tension and stress and squabbling and fighting. They're gonna, they're literally telling me that you can't make, what is that expression? You can't make a silk purse out of a pig's ear, I think. Oh, by the way, thank you for all of you guys who let me know that the name of that block game thing was that Jenga. Thank you. So what you have here is they're going to try to keep fancying it up. It's not going to land well. And the thing is that because they keep on pushing back on this Epstein thing, it's like, water on a rock, right? It's going to start to wear down people's faith and belief that the Trump White House, the Trump administration, Pam Bondi, the FBI, the Patel guy, they're going to start looking at things and going, wait a minute, this, and there was already enough. Wait a minute, this isn't what I thought would happen. This isn't what I voted for, but this is what we've got. So I think that we can anticipate going forward that their communications are not going to improve. Now, 10 of Cups, 10 of Wands, 6 of Pentacles. What do you have here, right? They're going to continue to try to present this happy, everything's fine, everything's wonderful, um, energy. And listen, this is the thing, and I do not mean this flippantly, and we all have to take it seriously. They have become masters at um, playing on people's emotions and promising them happier times ahead and saying, look at how wonderful things are. And every second word out of their mouth is a lie. I actually got a little sort of blurb thing that was sent to me. Thank you, Elaine. And it was, and of course I don't have it in front of my face, but it was sort of three little paragraphs about when there's this much lying going on. It's not so that people believe the lie. It's that we don't believe anything. We don't know who to trust anymore. And it strikes me that that is when people who um, become the most frightened are so much more malleable, because somebody comes along and says, "I'm going to make it great." And people buy into it. I'm thinking about, that person in history whose name started with an H and ended with an R. Him. The Republicans are horsing around with that same playbook, which is part of the reason. And listen, you've got quid pro quos here, and but the bottom line is it's a heavy lift, okay? Because they're just going to have antagonized so many people. I mean, for God's sakes, you've got farmers burning their crops because they don't have a way of harvesting them. You've got businesses and restaurants, closing down because they keep ICE keeps walking in and taking out their staff. And it doesn't seem to matter whether they're illegal or legal. If you're a certain color, you look a certain way, you speak a certain way, they're going to try to get rid of you. So it can't be taken lightly, but you also cannot, the lovers, you cannot lose faith that partnerships will continue to form and be created between people who either voted for it and don't want it, people who never voted for it, and, independents who sort of, go back and forth. There's going to be very, very strong coalitions built. You can start to expect that starting to gain momentum in the later months of this year. So I'm not going to say September, but definitely November and December leading up to 2026. You're going to see um, coalitions being built, people coming together and saying, we can't let this stand, and we are not going to fall for this some savior who's supposed to come and save us all. The reality is we all have to save ourselves. And we do that when you're talking about government by not only voting for the government that most reflects your own beliefs, but ensuring that they stay the course. And we do that by communicating with them, by writing letters, making phone calls, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All right. You have the Eight of Pentacles and the Nine of Pentacles. This is not the Republicans, this is the Dems. They're going to be able to pull the resources together. And I'm not sure that it's not just money. It is resources in terms of support. People, again, coalitions, the word just keeps playing in my head. So they're going to end up in a place where they're going to have the power, if you will, to push back. Three of Hearts. It's not going to be, at this point, the midterms are not going to be a blue tsunami. I think that very well may change as, the midterms roll closer. But as long as everyone does their part, and frankly, the Democrats become more aggressive and become just as sneaky and savvy as the Republicans, the potential is there for the Republicans to be disappointed, frankly, that the Dems were able to acquire so many different kinds of resources that even with all of their shenanigans, they're still going to end up being disappointed in the midterm results. Do not be surprised if there are some people in higher places, higher positions, that have so antagonized their constituents that they end up losing their seats. Let's not forget what happened here in Canada, right? Polyev was going to take this thing, that last election, it was going to be a landslide. There was no question. And not only did he not get his government elected, he lost his own seat. And I think the election to try to get him a seat is, I think it's at August 8th, it's somewhere around there. But the thing is, the people in that community are so enraged that that is the stunt they're pulling. Something like, I don't know, like 50 people have signed up to run in the election. And so if that vote gets splintered, he doesn't have a hope in hell. Listen, ultimately, I was going to say the law will win, but that's not quite right. It's like the right thing, the correct thing will ultimately prevail. All right. And sometimes, you know what, honestly, it seems like it's a long way off. And how do we even manage to hang in there? But you know what? You've got the Knight of Cups here, and he's bringing you some good news. He's bringing you emotional reassurance. He's letting you know that ultimately, love and goodness and powerful, positive energies will prevail. The last card is interesting here, right? Because it is the Wheel of Fortune. And again, it feels as if there are going to be some things that take place, and I want to say into 2026, that really, um, frankly, are just sort of bad news for the Republicans, much like the conservatives here in Canada. It feels like there's going to be a little bit of a twist of fortunes, if you will, and those that look like it's a shoo-in, are not going to. Um, that which is positive will prevail. It's in the upper half of the card, right? The devil is at the bottom. So his fortunes are not going to go the way, I guess, the Republicans expect. So there we have it. I'm going to just grab my handy dandy smoky quartz wand, and I'm just going to do a little bit of channeling and see if we can push that date line forward. All right, Spirit, what can we tell all of these amazing viewers about the, 3.5 years ahead of us, what that looks like, what's going to happen there, and what the energy right now is indicating? Okay, so as of right now, it looks like the midterms are not going to. Uh, what the Republicans are trying to do is not going to end up working. It feels as if you're going to have really large numbers of Democrats and independents voting. There are going to be Republicans who vote Democrat, but a lot of them they just can't. And they're just going to not vote. So it's going to be interesting to see what the turnout is, because it feels like the biggest volume of turnout is going to be what sort of sways the election. Now, where is Trump in all of this? Okay, he's definitely not around anywhere in 2027. Okay, what are we looking at for 2026? A steep decline. So I think that this is not only a decline of his support, but his health, mental, physical, heart, whatever it is. But there is a significant decline coming. This is the thing, in his first term, we were all like, how can he survive with this amount of stress? Like, how does he function? And the answer ended up being, well, he just loves stress. He functions really, really well. But you know what? What they're showing me is that he's getting very, very close, sort of to the top threshold that his body and his mind can tolerate. And so at some point, it's just going to start crumbling. Don't be surprised if you start to see this behavior towards the end of 2025 when um, there's sort of that amping up of energy sort of in November when, the midterms are only a year away. Um, yeah. He's he's not going to be good. Spirit, can you tell me if there are enough people in his administration who, if it gets bad enough, will start talking about the 25th Amendment? This has to be his cabinet people, and we all know, man, he handpicked those people for loyalty. Hmm. It looks like some point he's going to start cleaning house. He's going to get rid of the people who have displeased him, who didn't do a good enough job, burying the scandal, whatever it is. And when those people start getting pushed out, there are going to be others who are going, wait a minute, my head can be on the block next. And frankly, I kind of like the prestige I have, the position I have. I like, um, you know, having this much power, if you will. And it may, I don't know if they'll get him out, but it definitely feels like there's going to start to be kind of loud whispers about his state and truly whether he can even function anymore. Um, I can't find Vance. And logically in my head, that doesn't make sense because 45 gone, he steps into that role. And I can't I can't intellectually understand what will happen where if and when he steps into that role, it's very short-lived. Um, I don't I don't know, but I can't find him as I'm moving forward. He's around for some of, or part of, or most of 2026. But again, when I get to the real crunch time of 27, I don't know where he is. Okay. As of right now, in the next federal election, 2028, are the Democrats going to prevail in all three levels of government? Yeah, I'm getting a yes. There's going to be a lot of stress, but the Empress has showed up to remind us that there is growth and abundance. And in this case, the abundance is people and their energy and their votes. Um, so let's just all hang on to that. I also want to just quickly remind you that the stress and the aggravation and the fear have to be minimized because they will attract more of the same. So everybody needs to do whatever they can do, whether it's big or small, it all contributes to keeping things very, very powerful, positive as we go forward. I just asked if Kamala Harris is going to be on the ticket for president. She hasn't decided, so there's not a clear answer. Um, we all know she's not running for governor of California. I think that she will continue the good fight, but there's a part of her that just was sort of disillusioned and really hurt by, like, not even so much that she lost, although trust me, that's there, but the reasons people gave for not voting for her. I don't like her laugh. She's a woman. She's not pure white, et cetera, et cetera. Because what it did was it made her realize that maybe the United States writ large is not as evolved as she thought it was. So thank goodness for the United States that there's a fair amount of time between now and the next federal election. Hopefully, she'll heal and gain clarity. All right, so keep yourself positive as much as you can, and I know it's hard. I get it. But that's how you push back against dark energy with light energy. And that's why there are so many of you light workers on the planet right now. But you can never underestimate the power of racism and bigotry and misogyny. And I could go on, but you know all the other words too. All right. Please put your questions in the comment section below. Amazing questions you guys are sending in. Thank you so much. The amazing Joyce is on it this week. She's taking care of it. And I will look forward to seeing each and every one of you this Friday for Pendulum Friday. Until then, take care and be well. Bye for now.